At the start of the 2022 season, Eagles wide receiver A.J. Brown hung a sign in his locker that said, quote, "always open." It wasn't false advertising. Using a cutting-edge player tracking metric from ESPN Analytics, we can back up the receiver's claim. We all understand at some basic level what it means to be open. He's open. He's not open. Open. Extremely not open. But now we can confirm with data. Open score is an advanced stat that uses player tracking to assess the likelihood that a receiver would be able to complete a catch if targeted. And it scores every route on every play. So when Brown made that locker room boast, he was coming off a season with the Titans in which he recorded a 99 open score, the highest possible score the metric allows on its 0 to 99 scale. And he would go on to record a 92 open score in 2023 with the Eagles. A.J. Brown is really, really good at getting open. But how does the metric come to that conclusion? How does it actually quantify openness? In some cases, it's easy. Take this play from Brown. He's the number 11 dot here, where he gets Trayvon Diggs, the number 7 dot, to bite on the first part of a double move, creating space for himself. As the ball arrived, Brown had 4.9 yards of separation between him and Diggs. He was wide open, and the separation showed it. But it's not always that clear. Imagine Brown is running a go route against a cornerback in single coverage. If Brown has 1 yard of separation, is he open? Well, it depends. If Smith is 1 yard past the corner and the two players are moving at the same speed, then yes, he's open. There's an easy window for the quarterback to place the ball over his shoulder for a big gain. But if he's 1 yard short of the corner and moving at the same speed, then no, he's not. That's perfect coverage. Separation is part of the story, but it's not the whole story, and that's why we need open score. Let's look at another A.J. Brown play. This time, the Eagles are facing the Commanders, and it's 4th and 4. Brown is running a slant, and at the time of the pass has 1.8 yards of separation from Washington's Christian Holmes. But Brown has already made his cut inside and is moving at 8.4 miles per hour toward the middle of the field. Holmes is facing the wrong direction and going 5.3 miles per hour. When the ball arrives, Brown has 2 yards of separation, but crucially, he has all the leverage. He's underneath Holmes and to the inside of him, so there's nothing the defensive back can do. It's because of all of this, Brown's movement advantage at the time of throw, leverage advantage when the ball arrives, that he earned a very high open score for this play, even though there wasn't a ton of separation between him and the defender. Open score is actually measuring a player's ability to get open relative to expectations set by a variety of factors about the play, such as what route the receiver is running, what coverage the defense is playing, how deep the route is, whether there's play action, and who is playing quarterback. As is often the case in football, context is key, and open score tries to consider plenty of it. So what can we actually learn from open score that our eyes and conventional stats can't tell us? Well, open score mostly tends to align with public perception of basic box score stats like total receiving yards. Take a look at the leaders from 2022 and you'll see names like Brown, Tyreek Hill, CeeDee Lamb, Stephon Diggs, Justin Jefferson, and Davante Adams all in the top 10. But there are a few unexpected results too, and that's where we can find our contrarian takes. Most notably, the player who was number 1 last year, Steelers wideout Diontae Johnson, with a 99 open score, the highest possible. This comes despite the fact that Johnson managed just 882 receiving yards and 1.5 yards per route run, a far cry from, say, Brown, who almost doubled each of those numbers. One reason this discrepancy can happen is that open score is based on a player's performance on all routes, targeted or untargeted. Even when the ball doesn't come a receiver's way, we can and should still evaluate their route running on that play. Doing your job well when nobody's looking still means doing your job well. In addition, if the metric only relied on targets, it would have to contend with all sorts of selection bias issues. For example, imagine a backup receiver who runs 100 routes in a season. He hasn't earned his quarterback's trust, so he's only targeted on the rare instances he gets open. If we only looked at his targeted plays, we'd think this replacement level player was an uncoverable Hall of Famer. Here is an untargeted play from 2022's open score leader Diontae Johnson as an example. He starts with an outside release against Marcus Peters before crossing over and breaking inside, gaining separation and leverage on the corner. You can't see it in the dots, but as soon as he makes his move and it's clear he'll be open, Johnson has his arm raised, calling for Mitchell Trubisky to throw him the ball as he sprints toward the end zone. Instead, Trubisky, under duress, checks down for a minimal gain. Johnson was credited with a high level of openness on the play, particularly because it came against man coverage, despite the lack of target. In addition to helping us quantify how well receivers get open, there is a predictive element here that might be useful for fantasy football. Open score is a relatively stable stat, meaning players who perform well in open score one year tend to repeat that strong performance the next year. And there is also a high correlation between open score and future yardage totals. In other words, all else being equal, the one part of Johnson's game we can be confident in going into 2023 is his ability to get open. And if he does that and stays healthy, he's a good bet to beat his 882 yards from a year ago.